monoclonal antibodies, and these monoclonal antibodies are produced by hybridoma technology. Before we go into detail, let us first understand what is a monoclonal antibody. So monoclonal antibody means they are derived from monoclone. That means one single type of cells, one single clone of cells. And what is the cells which produce antibodies? Plasma cells. So monoclonal antibodies are antibodies which are derived from single clone of plasma cells. All are having same antigen specificity. That means they are produced against one single epitope of an antigen. So they are directed towards against one same antigen, all these antibodies, and we call them as monoclonal antibody. Now, normally, when any antigen enters into our system, it has obviously different type of epitopes on it. So we produce different types of antibody against it. So normally our human serum is polyclonal. It contains antibody against various antigen and epitopes. However, there is one pathogenic condition known as multiple myeloma, where our immune system or plasma cells decide that it will only produce one type of antigenic antibodies. So it will produce antibodies against one single epitope or antigen. So it can neutralize only that antigen. And that's why that person is immunosuppressed, because he or she is susceptible to infections because it cannot neutralize other antigens. So we have utilized that concept, that how can we make these monoclonal antibodies artificially in the lab, and how can we use them for various diagnostic and therapeutic applications. So that's what I am talking about today, that how to produce monoclonal antibodies in lab and what is their application diagnostically as well as therapeutically. So monoclonal antibodies are produced by a hybridoma technique. It is developed by G. Kohler and G. Milstein in 1975, for which they were also awarded Nobel Prize in 1984. So what is the principle here? So before we start the technique, let us understand what is the basic concept on which this is working. So we are using multiple myeloma cells. So we have cells which can produce monoclonal antibodies. Now we know what is a monoclonal antibody. And it can only produce one type of antibodies. Okay. So monoclonal antibody production is due to this multiple myeloma cells. We also have B cells, normal B cells, and they also produce this monoclonal antibody. So multiple myeloma as well as multiple myeloma cells are plasma cells, and we are also having B cell or plasma cells, and both are producing same antibody. But what is the difference? Our normal cell will die out, and multiple myeloma cells, because they are cancerous cells, they are tumorous cells, they have indefinite replication potential. They are basically immortal. So what we do, we take mouse and we take its spleen B cells. So first, before that, mouse is injected with the antigen against which we want to produce monoclonal antibodies. So I have injected that antigen into the mouse, and because of this antigenic exposure, the mouse spleen B cells, they will get activated, and they are now ready to produce antibody against it. One also important thing that you should remember, that mouse B cells or spleen B cells which are there, they are having HGPRT positive. So this HGPRT is very important. It is hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase enzyme. So spleen B cells contain that. This enzyme is, however, deficient in our myeloma cell. So on other hand, I have multiple myeloma cell line, which is a cancerous cell line. I have grown it in cell culture, artificially in lab. I have grown them. and I have taken that cell, and that cells are deficient in this enzyme. Now, myeloma cells are source of immortality. They are cancerous cells. They are also very closely resembling to mouse B cells, and hence these two cells can be fused. They can be genetically modified. So these myeloma cells are genetically modified by two mutations. So we call them double mutated myeloma cells. So they lose their ability to produce their own antibody because myeloma cells has their own desire. They will produce antigen which is different, which we have injected in that mouse. It is not necessarily the same antigen, but by mutation, we have removed them for making antibodies. So the only antibody making cell here is spleen B cell. Myeloma cells cannot make antibody after double mutations. They have lost that capability. They are just now have capacity to proliferate indefinitely. That's it. They have just cancerous property. Now, I will fuse these two cells into a medium, and they are put in polyethylene glycol broth in a chamber, and they are kept there. Now, after fusion, we have three different types of cells in that chamber. One is pure myeloma cells, which have not fused, pure spleen B cells, which have not fused, but we have some hybrid cells, and we call them hybridoma cells, which have properties of both spleen B cells as well as myeloma cells. So just like spleen B cell, they are HGPRT positive. They are able to make antibody against the antigen which we have injected in that mouse. Plus, like myeloma cells, they have immortality. They can multiply indefinitely. So after that, we subculture them into HAT medium. HAT is hypoxanthine aminoterethymidine medium, and here we will remove the unwanted cells, so that is unfused cells. So pure myeloma and spleen B cells, they will be removed. Why? Because to survive in this HAT medium, you require HGPRT enzyme. So hypoxanthine aminoterine thymidine medium, uh, you require purine synthesis. Any mammalian cells require purine synthesis. So either de novo or salvage pathway, you have to use the required material which is provided in medium and make purine. But the aminopterin which is added, they block the de novo pathway. So cell has only salvage pathway to synthesize purine for their survival. And salvage pathway require HGPRT as well as thymidine kinase. And that's why myeloma cell cannot grow. They cannot survive now, though they have indefinite potential to replicate, but they cannot make purine now, so they will die out soon. So they cannot make their newer generation. So myeloma cell is out. Spleen B cells, they have this enzyme, HGPRT and thymidine kinase. So they can grow, but they do not have indefinite potential. So they will also die out soon. But the hybridoma cells, they have this enzyme as well as they have capacity to multiply indefinitely. And that's why they will grow and survive long. So that's how we select these hybridoma cells. So unfused splenic B cells, they can grow but do not survive long as they are immortal. Unfused myeloma cells cannot grow as they lack this HGPRT enzyme, so they cannot use salvage pathway. And hybridoma cell will grow and survive long. Okay. Once we have this selected hybridoma cell, we propagate their clones. We confirm testing with antigen that this is the same antibody which are produced by them, which we desire. And once that is confirmed, we grow them in mass culture and we produce antibodies in abundant. And we can also inject these cells into mouse to derive this antibody. So there are two ways to it. Either you inject into mouse to get this antibody, or you can grow them in cell culture to get antibody. So both ways you get this monoclonal antibodies. So this monoclonal antibody, they are basically derived from mice, as the technique says. So these are known as mouse monoclonal antibody. So they have been given suffix umab or onab. So UMAB or ONAB will be written after that molecule. So they are 100% mouse protein, and the problem is that mouse protein is antigenic. So whenever you use this to provide passive immunity to someone by injecting this monoclonal antibody uh, to provide protection against that antigen, this antibody itself act as antigen, and that's why we require modification. We wanted to make it less and less mouse derived and make it more and more human derived, so it does not act as antigen. So what we have come up, we have said that okay, the main thing is antigen binding site. So keep only that portion uh, mouse derived, and rest of them is human protein. So we have replaced the rest of the FC portion, and these are known as chimeric monoclonal antibody, because some portion 34% is mouse protein and 66% they are human protein. So, and that have solved the problem to certain extent, but not 100% gone. That's why we have come up with humanized monoclonal antibody, where we have just kept those hyper variable CDR complement determining region hotspots mouse derived. Rest of everything is humanized. So chimeric will be having XIMAB suffix added to the molecule's name, ZMAB, and humanized monoclonal antibody will have suffix ZUMAB. So just by reading the name, you can understand it is which type of monoclonal antibody we are talking about. And now with help of technology, we can now 100% make human monoclonal antibody, and it has suffix MOMAB. So MUMAB, and it is 100% human proteins, and we have solved this problem. Now where we can use this monoclonal antibodies. So there are various applications of this. We use this in diagnosis. So we have now learned various antigen antibody reactions. If you have not checked out those videos, please go to the channel, see immunology tutorials, and watch all those videos. Those are excellent, and you will learn all the diagnostic antigen antibody reactions. And if you have gone through that, you know that for to diagnose infection, for us to diagnose infection, we require either direct evidence, that means you show the antigen of that pathogen, or you show indirect evidence, antibody of that pathogen. And to either detect antigen, you require antibody from outside, and to detect antibody, you require antigen from outside. So how we get this antibody to detect these antigens? uh, that is monoclonal antibody. So it is used in various diagnostic technique. It has widest application in serology, in various techniques, starting with ELISA, even rapid test, even fluorescent assays, immunofluorescent assay. So it is used. Second, passive immunity, especially in disease like hepatitis B, rabies, tetanus. For post-exposure prophylaxis, monoclonal antibody are targeting specific antigen of the pathogen, and it saves the lives of that patient, especially if they are immunosuppressed also, then we can give them. So that is their therapeutic use. Immunotoxins, these are monoclonal antibody conjugated with bacterial toxin like diphtheria toxin. So they are used to kill the target cells like cancer cells, and they have surface receptors um, which help them binding these cells. So immunotoxin, this monoclonal antibody which are combined with bacterial toxin like diphtheria toxin, they are known as immunotoxin against cancer cells. Some monoclonal antibody have enzyme-like reactions. They are known as enzymes. Monoclonal antibodies are also used in isolation and purification of various molecules. It also helps us in cell identification like CD4 and CD8 counts as we do in HIV. It also helps us in monitoring of protein and drug level in serum. So there are lots and lots of application of monoclonal antibodies. If you search or Google them, you will find list of various monoclonal antibodies, as well as in a pharmacology textbook you will see various monoclonal antibodies. But now you know the concept behind the monoclonal antibody, what they are, how they are produced, why their names are different, why some has umab or onab, why some has zimab, why some has zumab, and why some are called mumab. Because their composition is different based on what percentage of humanized component is there and their application. So I hope you like this video, you have understand it clearly, and thank you. I will be glad to hear your feedback. Just put in comments if you have any questions or any suggestions. I will be happy to incorporate them. Stay tuned to the channel, subscribe so that you get regular updates when I post such videos. Thank you.